guys, it's Jessii Vee. This feels so weird because I haven't filmed in almost 3 weeks. As you can tell by the title, there has been a lot going on in my life. And I usually don't come on here and do story times and life updates very often because I have my vlog channel for that. And honestly, those of you who have been watching those videos, you've really sort of been updated on what's been going on. But I know not everyone watches those videos, so I did want to come on here and let you guys know what's been going on. It's been a crazy past few months and an even crazier past 2 weeks. And I feel like I owe you guys an explanation as to why I've just been putting out compilation videos. And the short answer to that is I have been so brutally sick that I have not been able to come to my studio and film. It was such an effort to even get out of bed today and put on makeup. I'm not gonna cry in this video. I haven't cried in a video in probably like 4 or 5 years. I used to do that all the time and I'm not gonna do it today. So before I start telling you this story time, I just want to let you guys know, maybe trigger warning or just like a disclaimer, that this video has to do with health. It's gonna be a little TMI, bodily fluids, you know, just health stuff. I'm chronically ill, I have issues, and I need to update you guys, but if health stuff freaks you out, then maybe don't watch. So this all started back in July when I got my wisdom teeth out. Now, I'm only a few months away from being 30, and so my dentists have been telling me for a while that I should be thinking about getting my wisdom teeth out, but they've never bothered me. Like, the ones in the top came in just fine. The ones in the bottom were always impacted, so they're literally under the jawbone. They're unable to come in on their own, but they've never given me problems. But in July, I went to see my dentist. He took x-rays and he was like, listen, like, you're only getting older. The surgery is gonna be worse when you're older, so if you want to get them out now, it's probably best to do that. I still wasn't really having any pain with them. I would say that maybe every 6 months, I would get the teeniest little ache in my wisdom teeth, but it would go away in like an hour. I would just take like an Advil and it just wouldn't really bother me. But because my dentist was really pushing me to get the surgery done, I trust professionals. You know, I want to listen to what they're telling me. I didn't want to wait and then 5 years from now they're trying to come in and I'm having issues, and it's a riskier surgery the older you are. So I was like, okay, fine. I will go see this oral surgeon and I will see if I can get them out. So I had an appointment like only a week later. Like, it was super quick. I went and met with the oral surgeon. They looked at my x-rays. They felt around my jaw and stuff. I've always had like TMJ ever since I was a little kid. So my jaw has always bothered me. It always clicks when I open my mouth or chew. It's something I've just been used to, but they did tell me that I should get my wisdom teeth out, and so we made an appointment for the week after. So on July 19th, I got them out. They did tell me prior that because of my age, they make me feel so old, even though I'm only 29, but they did tell me, like, listen, anyone over the age of like 24, the surgery is gonna be really rough. The recovery period is gonna be 3 weeks long. You're gonna have pain. It's gonna be brutal. So like, I already knew I was gonna suffer. You know what I mean? But I was willing to do it if it was for my better health. So I got the wisdom teeth out. I was super goofy afterwards. I put a video over on my vlog channel. I was recovering for a few days, and then on day 5, I had a massive infection on the right side of my mouth. And this is where it gets kind of gross, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up here. I went back to the oral surgeon's office. They were poking and prodding around the area, and all of this like dark brown fluid just shot out of the area, and they were like, wow, you have a massive infection in there. We're gonna put you on antibiotics. And I was like, okay, like, as long as those will clear it up, let's do it. So I went on the antibiotics. Things were seeming to kind of clear up. And then 3 days later, so this is still only a week after I had my surgery back in July, I woke up one morning and I was feeling super lightheaded, super weird. I had like chest pain, my jaw was hurting, and I stood up to go to the washroom. And as I was walking into the washroom, everything went black and I passed out. I remember as I was falling, I kind of grabbed onto the counter, and I think that was what saved me from like really hurting myself. But things were still black. My eyesight was coming in and out of focus. So I screamed for Ty, who was in the process of letting the dogs out. He ran in. I couldn't get up off the floor, so he called 911, and all these paramedics came into our house. I was put on a stretcher. I went into the ambulance, and I actually have that whole story time and vlog on my vlog channel as well. It was terrifying. I was at the hospital all day. They did all this blood work on me. They discovered that my D-dimer levels were really elevated, and basically that just tells you how your blood is clotting. So I was at a risk for a blood clot, so I had to do like CT scans and all kinds of stuff. Honestly, before now, that was the scariest point in my life, because hearing that you have a blood clot somewhere in your body is terrifying. So I was there all day. I was crying, I was miserable, and honestly, like when you're in a hospital, there are so many interesting characters around you, and it kind of makes the time go by, because all you can really do is listen to other people's conversations and all the weird things going on. For example, there was this one woman who was sitting across the room from me, and she kept screaming at the top of her lungs, "Water! I need water! Somebody get me water!" And when I first heard this, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for her. Like, why is no one getting her water? But then I watched as a nurse came over, and the nurse was like, "Lydia, we've told you 5 times, you cannot have water. You're about to have an MRI, and you can't have any fluid in your system. So you can have water after your MRI." And the lady was like, "I just need water. Give me water." And so like the nurse walked away really annoyed, and this lady just kept screaming for the next 20 minutes how much she needed water. And it reminded me of that like SpongeBob episode where like he was like shriveling up and he was like, "Water." You know that I don't know. That's from my childhood. But it was interesting because I felt bad for her during all this, right? But then after she stopped screaming, she secretly phoned her husband, and she was like, "Honey, they're not giving me water. Bring me water immediately." So like she went from like super desperate and like hoarse voiced to like totally normal, like instructing her husband to get her water. So then I'm like watching as her husband comes through the door of the emergency room holding these 2 big cups of water. He passes by the nurse's station. They stop him and they're like, "Sir, if those waters are for that lady over there, you cannot give those to her. She is about to go into an MRI." And he goes, "No, these aren't for her. These are not for her." I knew they were for her. I'm watching this whole thing, right? So the nurses walk away. He sneakily goes into the emergency room and gives his wife these 2 big things of water, right? So she goes, "Thank goodness. I've been waiting for water this whole time." And so she starts drinking the water. She drinks 1 whole cup of water. A nurse comes in, sees her with it, and she goes, "Lydia, why are you drinking water?" Like, so this is just my entertainment, being in the emergency room, right? Anyway, so the nurses finally come to bring her for her MRI, and as they're helping her up to take her to the room, this lady's like, "I can't have an MRI, I'm claustrophobic." So like that, it was just, it was very interesting. You guys know I'm always trying to find humor out of this. Anyways, I get home from the hospital. They weren't able to find any significant blood clot in any of my scans. So I had to go home with these high D-dimer levels, and I was just afraid. Like I got home, I couldn't sleep because I felt like at any moment I could have like a stroke or something could go very wrong. So my anxiety was like way up here. You can't even see it on the screen. That's how high my anxiety was. Anyway, I finished my round of antibiotics, and so now we are in August. The entirety of August, I was having pain in my jaw, pain in where my teeth were taken out. And by the way, I had what's called a coronectomy, and they usually do this with like people who have severely impacted wisdom teeth, or if their teeth are close to a nerve, or if they're older in age like I am. They just take off the crowns of each teeth and they leave the bottom portion. So they leave the root of the teeth near the nerve. So it's almost like getting your wisdom teeth chopped in half and taken out, if that makes any sense. But for 99% of people, it's supposed to heal fine, heal over, everything should be good, but I am not 99% of people. So anyway, we're in August now. The entirety of August, I'm having pain. I'm having, and this is gross, once again, I'm sorry, watch at your own risk. I'm having strings of yellow and green pus coming out of the holes of where they took the wisdom teeth out. And at like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, those should be closed over. They should be healing. There should be nothing coming out. I'm sure anyone who has had their wisdom teeth out who's watching, at week 2 or 3, there's no fluid that should be coming out. Like, you should be good after like day 5 or 6, right? But every time I used the little syringe thing they gave me, all this stuff would come out into the sink, and I was like, this is not normal. I'm in mid to late August. I should not be in pain. I should not have stuff coming out of the holes of the wisdom tooth area. So I went in probably each week in August, 4 times to see my oral surgeon. And he kept telling me, you know, you're probably just healing slower, but I think you'll be fine. And I was like, are you sure I shouldn't be on like more antibiotics? Because clearly like there's pus coming out of the area. And he's like, no, some people heal slower. That was like his favorite thing to tell me. I would like go back home to Ty and be like, he's telling me that I heal slow. So I guess I have to trust him, because all you can do is trust your doctors and your dentists and your oral surgeon. Like, what else am I supposed to do? September comes around, ladies and gentlemen. I am still having issues. I'm still having all kinds of stuff coming out of the holes. Why aren't they healing? Why aren't they closing up? And then I get a new symptom, which is whenever I chew or like bite down, whether I'm eating food or not, I get this radiating pain that starts here and goes all the way down my neck. Every time I chew, it's like, and the pain is like 10 out of 10. So I'm literally 2 months after my wisdom teeth surgery, I'm still only drinking soup, eating mushy foods, because I cannot bite down without pain. So what do? I go back into my oral surgeon's office. I tell them what's going on. He tells me still, people heal slower. And you're just one of those people. And I was like, should I not be on antibiotics? Should we not be investigating what's going on here? This doesn't seem right after 8 weeks. But I was told, no, I'm okay, go home. I think like this has really been a pattern in my life. I'm not gonna cry. Where doctors don't really listen to me because I'm open about having anxiety. And so I think that like when they see me and I'm complaining and I'm in their office a lot, they just think I'm a hypochondriac and that I'm just high anxiety and I'm always thinking bad things are happening to me. It happened when my lung collapsed back in 2011. I had gone into my doctor's office for 2 weeks straight telling him I couldn't breathe, how much pain I had, and they kept telling me I was fine, it's muscle pain, it's anxiety. And on week 2, I almost died because they finally did an x-ray and saw that my whole lung was collapsed and I had to get to the hospital right away to have surgery. Then in 2017, I was telling doctors for an entire year about all the Lyme disease symptoms I was having. No one listened to me. It wasn't until year 2 that they finally gave me tests and I was positive for Lyme disease. So I have PTSD, genuinely, from people not listening to me and having to go in over and over and over until they finally figure out that something's wrong. Woo! I am good. I am good. So all of September, I'm struggling with this pain when I bite down. Then we get to October. Okay, this has been, I feel like it's been my whole year, honestly, that I've been in pain. I haven't once been out of pain since July 19th. Imagine that. October rolls around. By October 1st, I start to have other symptoms. Not just down here hurts, all the way up here hurts. And it's kind of like a burning pain, but it's not too intense yet. It wasn't until, and by the way, I went back in October, the first week, to my oral surgeon, told him about that, and he was like, yeah, that's weird, but I guess you're just healing slow. So on Thanksgiving, and Canadian Thanksgiving is early October, weird, I know, but I think it was October 9th. I had gone to my family's house to have our Thanksgiving dinner, and the whole way there, I was telling Ty, I'm like, I feel so nauseous. And you know when you feel feverish? It's that feeling of like you're kind of in a dream state, your body feels hot, you're kind of sweating, it's like a burning feeling, like you know that feverish feeling? The entire way to go to dinner, I was telling Ty this, and I'm like, something does not feel right. Once again, all my bones here were hurting. So that night when I got back from Thanksgiving, my fever was 101. I was throwing up. I was so sick. I felt so fluish. Like it was awful. So I went back to my oral surgeon. He put me on an antibiotic. Finally, even though I felt like it's a little bit too late, he started me on this antibiotic. It wasn't doing anything for me. Like 3 days went by, it didn't even take the edge off the pain. It felt like it was doing nothing. So he finally told me, okay, we're gonna do a second surgery on you. It's basically wisdom teeth 2.0. We're doing another wisdom teeth surgery and we're gonna remove the bottom parts of the tooth because you know he only took off the top. So now he has to go in further and get rid of the bottoms. So it's like a worse wisdom teeth surgery because now he has to like find his way down to the very bottom of the teeth and take them out, and I have to go through the healing journey all over again. So you bet when I heard this, I went back into my car and cried for an hour because I just could not believe this was my life. Like, how is this happening to me? What did I do wrong? And of course, like when you're in situations like this, you can't help but look back 3 months ago and think, I wish I never did this because I wasn't having any wisdom tooth pain. I was just listening to dentists. They were saying, get them out, be proactive. And I just listened to them, even though maybe I would have never had any issues in my life. Some people have their wisdom teeth in their entire life, you know, and nothing ever happens. And maybe that would have been me, and maybe I shouldn't have got them out. So of course now I'm blaming myself, I'm frustrated. I wish I could go back in time and tell previous Jessii to just not do it because of all these complications, but no, here I am. I can't change the past. I just have to deal with it going forward. So I was like, okay, let's do this second wisdom teeth surgery and maybe that'll just get rid of all the pain. Maybe my body was just like rejecting the bottom half of the teeth the whole time. Like that's what I'm telling myself. So I get the surgery. It's brutal. The recovery is brutal. It's worse than the first time, more pain than the first time. You don't often hear people saying that they got their wisdom teeth out twice, but that's me. World record? Probably. And the surgery was like a day before my sister's baby shower, so I couldn't be there, which was really hard because I had been planning it for 3 months. It's my sister's first baby and I wanted to be there and I couldn't because my face was this big. I was in bed, I wasn't allowed to walk around anywhere, and I couldn't be there for her. And she was so understanding. My sister is the best. She totally understood, but it was hard missing such a milestone like that because of this stupid surgery and all these issues that I've been having. It's so frustrating. So my surgery was 2 weeks ago. Almost to the day. I think we're on like day like 15 or 16 since I had my second surgery. And still more complications. I'm not healing right. About, I think it was on day 7 or 8 of the healing process, I went in because I was having so much pain and I noticed, once again, TMI, gross. Just like the first time, I was having all of this like gross like pus and it was still bleeding by day 8, which is not normal. Bleeding's supposed to stop that night you get the surgery, like a few hours after. But that entire week I was still bleeding, mostly from the right side. This side has been bad too, but mostly from the right side. And so I went in to see him and he was like, yeah, that's not normal. He put me on a new antibiotic, okay? So now all I'm taking is antibiotics. He told me to go home and put hydrogen peroxide into the area. So I did that. I got home, I put the peroxide in there. This is gross. Warning you. I felt everything bubble in my mouth, right? When I spit into the sink, when I tell you the entire sink was dark brown fluid. Like it literally looked like I had a ton of chocolate in my mouth and spit into the sink. So that is the kind of infection that I'm dealing with constantly. It's disgusting. That very night, I was rushed to hospital because once again, I had a 101-degree fever. I was throwing up. I was so sick. And my head felt like it was on fire. There's so much pain up here, up the side, pain like in my ear, pain down my neck. All of my like lymph nodes are swollen. So I go to the hospital, they give me an x-ray, they check my blood to make sure there's no infection in my blood. Everything comes back clear. What? So they send me home. I start a new antibiotic. Doctors are just now throwing antibiotics at me to figure out what bacteria is causing this issue. And the problem is there are so many different harmful bacteria that can be in our mouth. I think my oral surgeon told me there's over 50 really bad ones. And so antibiotics each kind of antibiotic can only target a few at a time. So right now it's like a waiting game of trying different antibiotics to figure out what's causing this issue. Clearly, because the pain's like in my bone, I can feel it. It's probably a bone infection. It's probably some kind of jaw infection that is like antibiotic resistant, which is so frustrating. And then yeah, I went back to the hospital a few days ago, once again with a fever, feeling sick. It feels like the worst flu I've ever had in my life, and I've had COVID, and I don't know, I've had it twice. I don't know if I can say it yet with YouTube guidelines, but it feels worse than that. But then add on the jaw pain and like all the pain and burning in my jaw area and my teeth, add that onto it. I've been dealing with that for the past 3 weeks. So yeah, I've just been in and out of hospital, no luck with antibiotics or figuring out what the heck is going on. And doctors are telling me that they're baffled and they've never seen a case like this. That's not fun to hear, because when you find out you're the first one going through something and doctors have never seen this before, it sucks because suddenly I feel like an experiment and something they're testing and trying to figure out, and I don't want that. I want a doctor to look at me and be like, I know exactly what's going on. Take this, do this, and you'll be fine. But it hasn't been that way, and it's been so frustrating, and I have been so sick. Even just sitting here, I'm in pain, I feel nauseous. So I am just praying my heart out that I can get past this and figure it out and know what medication's gonna help me. And it sucks because I notice, like, going into hospitals and stuff, doctors are very impatient. And I think in Ontario and Canada in general, our hospitals are overwhelmed. You know, we have free healthcare, but it's not good. It's really not good. And so I think they're just overworked and they're tired and they're stressed, and I feel like no one spends time with me. For example, when I went into the emergency room, when I was like vomiting and I had like the fever and my face felt like it was on fire, I sat down and he was like, what's going on? And I started to talk, and I have to tell the full story, so they know, like, from the beginning, like, how I've gotten to where I am now. I start talking, he interrupts me with his hand and he goes, 3 words or less. Just tell me in 3 words or less. What do you mean 3 words or less? I am dying? Do you want me to just say that? So it's like, I feel like because this started in July, I have such a long story to have to tell doctors, and they have no patience. They're always like, hurry up, just tell me what's happening now. What are you feeling now? So like, the issue is with me just telling them now, they're not gonna know the history of how I got here. So it's just so frustrating, because imagine me having to tell doctors this story that you've been watching right now. I've been filming for 26 minutes. It's just so frustrating. So long story short, that is why I've been posting compilation videos, because to get in makeup, to sit in this chair, to film, to do research for videos, to edit a whole new video, it is taxing. It takes a lot of time. For me to just do a normal video that you see, a new video, it takes me 3 days, you know? I don't have a team. I'm just a one-woman show here. Editor, filmer, researcher, everything. So compilation videos are, while they take some work to put together and do the intro for, they're easier on me because that's content I've already had. And I'm sorry to those who are frustrated by that. I do read the comments and people are like, oh, another one? But there are some people who actually really like the compilation videos, which thank you for that as well. I guess all I have to say is I love you guys. I miss you guys. I wanted to give you an explanation. I'm praying and hoping that in November, everything will be back to normal. I'm trying to be positive and just think that in November, they're gonna find out what's wrong, I'm gonna get better, I'm gonna heal, and I'm gonna be right back here in the studio posting new content, and everything will just go back to normal. That's like all I can hope for. And I like hope that I can look back at this video of me struggling and telling this story and be like, wow, I'm so glad I'm out of that, you know, like, I'm really praying for that to happen, where I just look back at this moment where I'm struggling so much. Like, I feel like I've been like in torture, like agony for so long, that I can just look back and be like, wow, like that's where I was, and it's amazing that I'm better now. Anyway, thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you for watching my videos even though I'm not currently presently in them. Every time you guys watch one of the compilation videos I post on my channel, it means so much to me, and it really supports me in this time where I can't be working properly, but I know I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna say that November is gonna be the time that I'm back and things are normal, because I can only be positive right now. Sorry for such a long update video. It's much easier for me to post videos on the vlog because Ty edits those videos on the vlog channel. So I will try and keep posting on there even if I can't be on here. So it's a really good channel to go and follow if you're just interested in seeing what's going on with me. It's also linked down below. But thank you so much for listening to this very long story. It's definitely more than 3 words. And I will see you guys very soon. I love you. Bye.